$1,100 for a console that's weaker than a PlayStation 5. Steam is manufacturing a video game console called the Steam Machine that they are selling for $1,000 dues, over $1,000 dues, excuse me, that is weaker than the 5-year-old PS5. Like, we all knew it was going to be bad. We all knew it was going to be embarrassing. We all knew this would be another nail in the coffin of the endless meme of Steam's hardware division. Like, I don't even know why they bother at this point, because their core audience doesn't want to see this. You know, casuals don't want to see this. Like, the Steam Deck sold, like, 3 million units worldwide. It was, like, this huge, epic failure that the online gaming community, like, desperately tried to meme into relevancy, right? Like, Valve's hardware division really should be seen as a joke. And honestly, like, I never want to hear about them ever again. You know, now that this is, like, now that this information has come out, and now that we know it's true, that now that we know that, like, you know, the actual price point, more than double the price of a PS5. Like, are you serious? More than double the price of a Switch 2, which of course is better than this, the PS5. So, like, you are telling me that you honestly think that the Steam Machine is going to take off and become this huge success story by selling its console for $1,000. There's no unique technology. There's no improvement. There's no exclusive titles. Like, if anything, you're going to have less games than a PS5. Because I believe you can only buy games on Steam on it. Maybe you can, like, get other PC games on it through other stores. But, this video game console is, like, a disaster. Like, who in the world is gonna pay for this, you know? Like, even the most hardcore, like, Valve cocksuckers in the industry, you know, people like Grums, like, they're not gonna shell out for this. I mean, they weren't going to anyway, but, like going into this, you know, there was this mindset that this thing would be, like, more affordable, but far more powerful than the PS5. And that's obviously retarded, if you think about it for 2 seconds. Like, obviously, you know, just like how the Steam Deck wasn't that powerful. But that was the narrative going into this, is that this was going to be, like, the console killer. This was going to be Valve's moment to shine. You know, Xbox is on the way out. PlayStation's on the way out. You know, Valve was going to, like, intrude on the hardware space and, like, leave a really big impact. You know, that's what we were told. But, like, the instant they started talking about the price, you know, the narrative completely collapsed. Like, nobody's on board with this. You know, nobody was. Like, this is, I think, going to be the beginning of the end of, like, the meme that, like, PC gaming hardware is somehow more affordable than Nintendo hardware. Because you keep seeing people do this thing, right? Where they claim that the $450 Switch 2 is obnoxiously overpriced, that Joy-Cons are too expensive, that accessories like the Virtual Boy are too expensive. You know, you see people, like, complaining about that, and then they just kind of turn a blind eye to the fact that everything else in the industry, especially gaming PC stuff, is, like, far more obnoxiously overpriced. Like, you can look and see at the like, you know, what Xbox prices are right now, and they're, like, through the roof. You know, Game Pass has exploded. Like, you know, gaming PC parts are exploding, and now, like, we have dedicated Valve hardware, like, over $1,000, and for no real benefit. Like, what exactly are you going to do with a Steam Machine that you couldn't do on a Switch 2? Like, that's a really real, valid question when you look at this. You can't even, like, say that, like, well, it's portable, like, because it's not, you know. Like, you know, this is going to end the exact same way that the Steam Deck did, right? Where, you know, this thing comes out, it completely fails, and people do that thing they always do where they kind of sit around and just kind of refuse to acknowledge it. Like, oh, we'll get it next time, or we still have the PC monopoly. Like, nobody cares about that. Like, honestly, like, this is why Valve is doomed as a company, is that they aren't capable of expanding outside of the PC industry. You know, they aren't capable of like doing anything other than run like the GameStop for PC games, okay? They can't do anything other than run a store. Like, which isn't that hard once you get going, let's be real. So, Steam is not some industry powerhouse. Like that's my big takeaway when looking at this. You know, looking at like what Nintendo's doing with the Switch 2, with their legacy titles, with their hardware, right? Nintendo's in a position where they can constantly innovate and reinvent themselves and like introduce new products that all tie together through like the Nintendo account system and all that. Like Nintendo's killing it right now. Like Valve has been doing things like this for years. You know, the Steam Deck failed. Like, their VR headset failed. You know, the last attempt at a Steam machine failed. Like, why exactly is Valve's hardware not seen as a way bigger joke than it is? You know, not only is it, like, ineffectual, not only is it not desirable, not only do people not want to use it, like, it's also faulty and cheap. You know, you were going to be paying over $1,000 for something that probably isn't going to last, like, 5 years. Okay, like this is like the reoccurring problem that you see with Valve. You know, the Steam Deck had all the problems with its fans and with its controllers. I think you know, if Steam Deck, you know, if the controller's built into the tablet, right? Like if you were to have something go wrong with like the sticks or like have some defect, like you couldn't just detach it and like send it in and have it repaired for free like you can with Joy-Cons. Like the Steam Deck is just objectively speaking an inferior design to the Switch 2. And that's something that like I think most people who think about these things and actually study these things and market trends understand this, but like the entire narrative for the past decade has been that like PC gaming is the dominant like growing force in the gaming industry, and like that's very observably not true, because if it was, you would be able to see companies like Valve branching out, developing new PC games, new PC hardware, experimenting with new technology, and that simply isn't happening. Like, this is the reality of, like, the PC master race, is that it's entirely propped up by porn, by microtransactions, by gambling, and by, like, shady business practices. They aren't really in the gaming industry the way that Nintendo is. Like, they don't make their own characters. They don't make movies based on those characters. They can't merchandise anything. Like, Valve is just not that successful of a company in general, right? It is just a store. Like, you are a fan of the video game equivalent of Kmart. You know, a declining ecosystem that's not going to have any reason to exist 10, 20 years from now. An ecosystem that's going to collapse once bad leadership takes over and ruins everything that leads people to Steam, as opposed to, like, all of the other companies, all the other PC storefronts. It's only a matter of time until Valve loses its monopoly, and all of a sudden, you are not going to have anything going for you. Like, the Steam machine is the next major step to that process. You know, this is something that more people need to talk about. This is something that more people need to address. This is something that, like, needs to be said. Valve can't produce hardware, they can't make games, and they certainly will never be able to compete with Nintendo.